Tonight's Newsmaker has one of the toughest jobs in the Piedmont. He's been on this job about a month shy of a year, and it's been anything but easy.
Some in the community were against his hiring in the first place. Many of those have since called for his resignation, but Greensboro Police Chief Wayne Scott is facing all that with one key strategy: transparency.
The Greensboro Police Department is part of your community. We are here to serve.
And enhancing that service will be the completion, possibly within the next year, of the police department's downtown headquarters building.
As you can see, it's not much to look at right now.
This top floor will soon be the home of the city's top officer.
As you come off the elevator and you go left will be the chief's suite, which is myself and the deputy chief.
Which you don't have access to.
That's right, through the plywood.
This rise to the top floor marks a milestone in a 25-plus year journey within the Greensboro Police Department. After finishing the city's police academy in 1991, Wayne Scott started as a patrol officer and would hit just about every single level on the way up, including several years as deputy chief before being sworn into his current position. What is your most important role as chief? Is it setting the tone? Is it hiring? Is it delegating, organizing?
It's all the above. You know, I think it's leading.
But even before he took his oath of office, he knew public relations would be a main component.
Wayne Scott, bad choice.
Many labeled him an insider who'd be unable to bridge what they perceived as a trust gap between the police department and the black community.
This is what hypocrisy looks like.
The issue was amplified by the October front-page New York Times article that pointed out disparities in the department's treatment of blacks and whites in traffic stops.
The numbers are accurate. We actually provided a lot of those numbers that were in that particular article, and we provide them to the state. But we need to understand what drove the decisions that put officers in those areas that drove the numbers.
To push that understanding, Scott ordered his officers to stop pulling people over for minor equipment infractions like broken taillights, a move he says is temporary but not yet conclusive.
Every recruit gets a new bag.
And in addition to getting new bags, the new police recruits will face a new curriculum that emphasizes better communication.
At the end of the day, what we found is it's about the soft skills. It's about de-escalation techniques. It's about learning how to maintain control of a situation with nothing but verbal cues.
What is the number one good thing that has happened as a result of that report, if anything?
Oh, it's open dialogue amongst individuals in our community that we didn't have dialogue with.
That's a big part of the Coffee with a Cop meetings and the full implementation this year of a neighborhood policing strategy, getting officers out in the communities, like with the new street crimes unit. More than 20 officers are back on the streets in regular clothes, not only to become more approachable, but to better address the steady increase in gun violence. What is the biggest public misconception about the Greensboro Police Department, if there is any?
A lot of times, you know, the simple question may be, well, why can't we see that? Well, you can't see that, and I'm referring to personnel law, because the state of North Carolina won't let me show it to you.
Specifically, video shot by the body cameras every Greensboro officer has access to while on duty. How much does that take away from the purpose of having the cameras in the first place? Do you see what I'm asking? Yeah.
I do, and you know, I'll be honest with you, I think it takes away a lot.
That's why Scott and others are pushing state lawmakers for a little more leeway that would allow his department to release the video in certain circumstances, something he says would help his efforts to, in the eyes of his critics, become more transparent.
Let's sit down and talk about it. Get to know me, get to know my strategies for bringing our community together, and I think what most of those individuals will find is that we are very similar in what we want.
Later this month, Chief Scott plans to release the results of a UNC Greensboro, North Carolina A&T State University study on traffic stops that actually began before the New York Times article. This, he says, will enable him to talk even more about long-term solutions. And just last week, the City Council talked about making body camera video more available. What that policy will include, though, is to be determined. Scott also says downtown Greensboro, from a statistical standpoint, is safe, and his department's constantly working to make it even safer.